I'm not perfect, but neither are you. The biggest thing, though, is we need to stop treating each other as if everyone else should be perfect. That doesn't make sense. I've been sort of on this path of understanding that we all coexist and we all have differences. Like, you literally have differences with every person you run into, literally. Like, grew up in the same household, can still think completely different things, can still have completely different priorities, can still have completely different goals. And that doesn't take away from you. That doesn't impact you. Unless you want it to. So the biggest reason why I feel this way isn't just because of racism, but it's mostly because we've been spending so much time and energy trying to get other people to do what we think is best, what we think is right, what we think is good for them, what we think is for the economy, but not everyone is going to be on the same page, and that's okay. The point is to do as much good as possible with the time we have on this earth. Right now, the path that we are on is completely different. You are not perfect. I am not perfect. We are not perfect. Nor should we be striving to be. We should be striving to be better. We should be striving to do more good. We should be striving to succeed. And success doesn't mean I have to put somebody else down in order to get there. Success doesn't have to mean that I have to make sure that your dream isn't possible until my dream is possible. Success doesn't mean that if I don't want to go about it the way that you go about it, that it's wrong. It's literally just different. Honestly, I don't know a single person who goes about their goals exactly how somebody else went about them. We all have different opportunities. We all have different resources. We all have different backgrounds. But for some reason, it is so hard to remember that for all of us, including me. Including me. It takes an extreme amount of effort, an extreme amount of awareness, an extreme amount of consciousness for me to understand on a day-to-day basis that we are all different and people don't come from my background. They don't come from my understanding of the way the world works. And nor should they. That's what makes the world so beautiful. But we seem to focus all the time about what needs to change. And because someone does something differently, we're like, ooh, that needs to change. Not always. Why don't we focus on the things in our lives that we can make better? Because that's what needs to change. Having someone change their ideas, that's not necessary. You're gonna suffocate them and you're gonna stop them from creating something good. And no, it's not intentional. So when people say things to you, understand it's not intentional. People aren't out to say, you can't do this, you can't do that. I have never seen it done before. So I don't think you're capable of doing it. I don't think you're capable of doing it from the things I've seen you do. It doesn't mean that things are impossible. It doesn't mean that change isn't possible. It just means it's not going to look the way you expected it to look. It's not going to look the way you wanted it to look. Because we're not perfect. It's not meant to. We're meant to get better, be a better driver, be a happier person, be a more loving person. It's not our job to tell other people how to live their lives. In fact, it's probably more closer to it's our job to tell people their potential. You're here to let people know this is what has been done. You're here to let people know this is what hasn't worked. And why it hasn't worked? Because times change all the time. Something that didn't work in 1850 could clearly work in the 2020s. It is all possible. And if we can just learn to love and accept the fact that there's other people on this planet that do not think the way we do not have the beliefs that we have, do not have the morals that we have, do not have the type of love that we have, and to understand that if it was taught to us, it can be taught to them. We just have to be patient, and we have to be understanding, and we have to listen. Because maybe what they are teaching is actually better than what we've learned. And if it's not, then we have a better way of teaching it to them. And if we can't get through to them, because you're not going to be able to save every person you cross, ever. So if you see someone doing something that you disagree with and you inform them of a better way of doing it, and the light bulb doesn't go off, and it doesn't click with them, it either means you didn't tell them at the right time, at the right moment, or it just means you were just meant to water a seed or plant a seed for someone else to come along and let them know the same thing. Because trust me, if someone says the same thing over and over and over again, or multiple people keep having the same consistent message, we are here to love. We are here to enjoy our lives. We are here to be happy. We are not here to point the finger and judge. We're not here to do that. And it's very hard not to do. Most of us grew up in an environment where we were judged nonstop, and now we have taken on that habit of judging others, and you do not have, I'm telling you, it is not required. The rules that you have in your head are not required. People don't have to dress a certain way. People don't have to look a certain way. People don't have to behave a certain way. They have to follow the law. That's it. And even that, they technically don't have to. They just have to reap the consequences if they don't. Nobody literally can force you to do anything until you get caught. I'm not saying that's a good thing. You should want to do good. But I get your environment taught you something different. I just know that it doesn't have to stay that way. It doesn't. You don't have to make fun of people with special needs. You don't have to make fun of people who are overweight. You don't have to be angry with people that don't look like you, that don't live a life that you would, or that you were taught to live. You don't even have to do that. There's so many people that are suffocated and hurting from just simply wanting to be themselves. And the world being like, nah, not like that. But why not? And why can't they discover it for themselves? And why, when they do something wrong, you decide to add on to that? I've never, ever experienced a moment where someone was mean to me and that made me want to be nice. I had to already want to be nice. And I'm not even that nice of a person. I'm mostly a kind person because I have a complex about that. I feel like nice people are dishonest, but that's just been my experience. That's my truth. And I don't need to spread that across the world. It just has to be something that I live by, and it helps me to be a good person. So do what helps you to be a good person. If you want people to treat you with kindness, then be kind. And don't associate, oh, if I do this favor for someone, then people should want to do that for me. That's not how it works. It's not an expectation out of kindness. You can choose to be kind. It's not easy, but it is possible. You can choose to judge less. It's not easy, but it is possible. And it takes a lot of practice. So start now. In the meantime, I love you, I believe in you, and have a happy day. As always, go defund the police. Thank you.